Hi, this is Russ Titleman, and you're listening to Fab 4 Free For All.
And welcome to another exciting edition of the Fab 4 Free For All, the Beatles podcast. That's done whenever we can at this point, but we love doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. So don't ask if we're still doing it, because we definitely are. As long as you're going to watch and listen, we will keep doing it.
I was going to say, we'll do it until you tell us to stop. Right?
Yeah, or until the three of us die. And then if we do, you'll see just
but we wouldn't listen to him, though, so we still got to do it anyway.
And truth be told, by the time we're ready to die, AI will have replaced us doing the show anyway. So it doesn't really...
And I'm telling you right now, AI will probably give a person that looks a lot better than me. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Nice.
How
It'll
fun
be
is
like
that?
Kiss. We'll have our avatars.
And so is Nancy, Mitch.
Nice.
Wow. On that note, I am your moderator, Mitch Axelrod, for this episode, and joining me as well, I was going to say a minute ago, as I always hope they do, but now Rob, Rob Leonard.
Hello, everyone.
And Tony Trigordo.
Hiya, folks.
So we got an announcement in late April of 2024. Yes, Tony, you're giving away things. I can't even hear that. But anyway, we got an announcement in late April of 2024 about a McCartney release, and everybody got excited, except it wasn't the release we thought it would be or should be. They announced that we are getting an official release of the 1974 undertaking, we'll say for now, One Hand Clapping. So before we even talk about anything, what was your first reaction when you heard that we're getting this? Tony?
I was very happy because having been so familiar with the film, and we had the film for so many years in the underground, the only thing I was concerned about is that what we've seen that had, I'd say leaked, but what we'd seen that had come out in little drips from the McCartney camp didn't look much better than the bootleg did. So my question was sort of like, okay, where's our audio source? Like, do we have a full true stereo? My imagining was, yeah, they did. It was a McCartney project. Not to be funny, but this wasn't covered yet in the first edition of Alan Cozen's book. So I didn't know necessarily whether or not, we had like I say, a full stereo. But, I thought it was a fun idea to get this out. My only weird thought was, why do you, and this is not a disparage on it, but why do you celebrate the anniversary of something that very, very few people in the world even knew existed? It's kind of like, yay, happy 50th birthday, Joe L. Rabinowitz. Like, we don't know Joe L. Rabinowitz, but hey, happy birthday. Well, it's kind of like, who knew that this was anything that we needed to go, 50th anniversary.
Well, there you go. And Rob, I'll give you the floor in one sec. But Tony, to your point, this wasn't on our radar at all, because number one, it was a shelved project and just bootlegs of it. And second of all, we still wanted London Town and Back to the Egg to complete the Wings archive. So yeah. So this was a little odd. Rob, what was your first reaction?
I didn't care that much because a lot of it was on the Band on the Run box set. Not all of it we found out, but most of it. And I'm like, well, isn't it already out there? I mean, I know artists sometimes will put stuff in the box set and then they'll separate it later on. I know Bruce Springsteen has done that as an artist and some others. And I don't mind that because some people won't buy the box set, but they might want to hear One Hand Clapping. Now, I don't know. I mean, my problem is they're not including the video. So the video,
we'll discuss that. Yeah.
Right. So when I heard about this, I said, the video too. And then it's not there. So I wasn't too thrilled. I'm like you. I'm waiting for London Town and Back to the Egg and and a couple other things, because his archive series has been going since 2010 when Band on the Run was the first one. And guess what? It's still not complete. So
Yeah,
that was part of it. I'm sort of happy. It's sort of like the underdubbed thing. And I think these two are kind of connected, because underdubbed, it seems like maybe they found something when they did underdubbed with this, and they said, oh, let's put this out next. But underdub really should be in the box set, and One Hand Clapping should be a separate release, a completely separate release. But you're not going to go back and do it again with Band on the Run, for the 80th anniversary or 52nd or whatever.
Well, a couple of questions though, a couple of thoughts. I mean, I'm looking, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 5 tracks from One Hand Clapping. I don't remember the audio quality being this good. To be honest.
Yes, and again, that's a very big plus here.
Yeah, and I also have to ask though, Rob, if they'd given us the movie, which I'm not disagreeing with you that they shouldn't have been, or that Paul should have included a movie in a box or in a set. First of all, it would have made it a hybrid product. It would have been a CD with DVD product, which, from what I understand, are getting harder to sell.
And pricier.
Because a lot of people, this is crazy, but a lot of people may still have their CD player and may have already gotten rid of their DVD player. A lot of people just doing streaming. And then the other question is, realistically speaking, I know it's cool, but how often would you play the DVD versus tossing the CD in?
It's just, if you're going to do the project, you'd rather have both together. That's my only qualm. It's the fact that, is there going to be a release of the DVD separate down the road, even though it's part of the box set, for Band on the Run? Does it come out separate because, oh, well, the version that was on Band on the Run isn't complete compared to what we see, well, at least with the songs, because there's additional songs, unless the cameras weren't rolling.
Well, that's the other thing. Well,
really important.
Yes, that's another big thing, really, because we don't know, Rob, because there's a lot of songs here that were from those sessions that were not on the film. So we don't know whether the cameras weren't rolling or that they just were not deemed good enough, even though the quality of the original film is crappy. We don't know. So, to Tony's point, I love putting this in. I put it on a USB, and I put it in my car and I listen. I don't really need to see Paul performing it.
Well, and if you want to see it, you can have it. You have the Band on the Run.
Band on the Run.
Right. That's if everyone bought it. But I mean, to me, at this point in his career, you put it together. It's something that works.
But here's my question, and it's that whole you can't please everybody. Think about it, Rob. They put it out. We never had the whole complete audio, beautiful quality, awesome stereo.
We still don't.
We'll get to that, but
yeah, we will.
We've never had this. If we were paying $8 or $10 extra for the product to get One Hand Clapping, which we already have, and that had not been dramatically Peter Jackson-esquely redone,
right?
Would so many fans be bitching about the redundancy?
Yes.
I own that already. What the hell?
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
You know what the solution is, guys?
Yeah.
You put this out, and then you give us the film again on his YouTube channel for free.
I'll take that.
What's wrong with that? They already gave it to us in the box. So if people are going to bootleg it, so to speak, it's out there already. So just give it to us.
I'm sure it's already out there. I mean, it reminds me of a little bit.
Not officially, though.
When the streaming of Get Back came out, one of the things the box set didn't have was the full rooftop concert. And what did they do? They put it out on the streaming services for free. Now, I thought that was really cool because, but it should have been part of the box set, but then they didn't put it out there. But then they realized, oh, we made a mistake. Here it is for free. Now, I'm not saying Paul should put everything out for free because he's allowed to make money.
I think he should, damn it. Everything on free.
Especially after being declared the first UK billionaire or one
Well,
point two
I think he's been
billion.
named that a couple of times, but
I know.
that's all. I mean, it's nice to have it all in one place, with a nice book and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
I have no
here's-
qualms with this coming out. I mean, he was going to put it out at one point, I guess,
Yeah.
and then he said no, and 1974 was a big year for Paul because Band on the Run was such a huge hit. But he also worked on his.
It became a huge hit.
He worked on his brother's album. He worked on this, recorded at Abbey Road. It sounds great, so.
And Nashville. But here's the thing.
And let's not forget, he also, not that this is a small thing, he also put a new band together.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's not easy too. I mean, yeah, it was a great year for him. It was a big success, but mostly with the trio. And
Right.
then came Junior's Farm, and there's a new Wings.
So see, for me, I love that this is coming out because again, as Tony alluded to, not many people even knew it existed, and they've heard about it, but they just didn't either, they didn't care or they just didn't seek it out because it wasn't that well known. But so it's nice to have it. I wish this was put out after some other things. That's all. I love having it, and it sounds great, and we'll talk about it now. But why don't we fill people in at least? I'll give a little bit of the backstory so people know now what it's about. So in July of '74, he goes to Nashville, and as Tony said, he had to replace Benny Sywell and Henry McCulloch with Jimmy McCulloch, and no relation, and Jeff Karate Britton.
Well, he didn't have to replace them.
Well,
with
yeah,
he
he did.
auditioned them, and then
Yes, you know what I mean.
I know what you meant, but
yeah, of course. So they go to Nashville. They record stuff like Junior's Farm, and they record Sally G and all that good stuff. And then, Band on the Run is flying high in the charts, and they decide they're going to do this. I'm going to say rockumentary with Paul and the new band, as Tony said, the new band, in August. So in August, they go for 4 days in Abbey Road Studios, E.M.I, and they start rehearsing for this, what was proposed to be a live album. And, voiceovers, and they show the band rehearsing and all that good stuff. So a couple of things before we even really get into this. When I read that this was supposed to maybe be a potential live album, now this is '74, before Venus and Mars. If they give us a live album after Band on the Run, do we get Wings Over America?
Well, it depends if he tours. I think, he put out Wings Over America because there was this great bootleg from the LA show with Red, White, and Blue, 3 discs or 3 LPs. And that's what got him going.
Yeah, but a lot of Wings Over America is in this set list, so to speak.
Yeah. No, but
I do agree with Rob, though. There is a possibility that to counter the bootleggers by that point, because a lot of artists, Elton did that with 11/17/70. The bootlegs were getting some really widespread distribution by the mid '70s. So Rob might be right. It might have still, that might have still happened. But anyway, I'm sorry.
And also one more thing about that period, 75, 76, he did 2 albums within a year, basically.
That's true.
And the band played better live on those tracks than they did on the studio stuff. And he had to have known that.
Arguably.
Well, arguably, but I always thought they did. And one thing about the having 2 live albums, one's in studio, so there's a different feel to it. There's not a lot of like double tracking, let's say, or overdubbing like that. So I think that's would be the difference. I don't know many bands that did a live album in the studio. So that would be something different, But
allegedly Kiss and Frampton and
that's different. That's overdubbing a live album.
I know.
No, I mean, I think the Dead recorded. I think most of In the Dark was done live. Live or live in a venue. But to split the difference, what my feeling is? My feeling is, yes, we would have gotten both live albums, but maybe Wings Over America would not have been a 3-album set. Maybe he would have held off on, on earlier cuts. Maybe he would have held off on High, 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 held off on Jet, held off on a few things. Soily, right, there you go. I mean, why would you put Soily out again necessarily?
But the Cat in Satin Trousers said it's oily, so
said it was oily, yeah.
you have to.
Yeah, of course.
No, but you know
Whatever
what?
the hell that means. Anyway, I still think it's all about. Anyway.
You haven't done that in a while, Tony.
I haven't, but in that particular song, I'm sorry, but
the
Satin Trousers said it's oily. I'm sorry, that's about.
One of the things about just jumping ahead, on one hand, clapping, you actually understand the lyrics.
That's true.
Well, and we'll get to those. That's a good point. We're going to get to it. One other thing. So TV sales brochures are made for this special and album, but it never came out. So this was going to be a real thing. I wonder why he didn't do it. Maybe based on the fact that
the band.
What was that?
Because Jeff Britton left the band.
Yeah,
that's really why.
I think so because it's like when he put out a rock show 4 years after the concert, and Wings is over. Basically, it's like, oh look, Wings is over.
He still did it.
I know that, but he
could have put this out with Jeff Britton not being there.
Yeah, but it was just too quick. It was kind of like, oh look, here's the new version of Wings, but that guy's not there anymore. Like it's a little bit.
One wing flew away.
Yeah, right. One hand was clapping and one wing.
Where's Davy Lutton? That's what I want to know.
Davy Lutton.
Davy Lutton, is that like Joel Rabinowitz?
No, he was in like for 4 minutes or something.
Wow.
So we had this one drummer who was only with the band for like 4 minutes.
And then he exploded.
The Wings version of Spinal Tap.
Right. Then he exploded. Very nice.
He exploded and Jeff Britton came in because he was working in the karate studio next door. No, but you know what though? Part of this, which we didn't get prior, and we'll get to the track listing in a minute, but part of this is our Beatles songs, which we didn't get in the film. Now, to my knowledge, and I think I have decent knowledge, but back me up, guys. Is this the first time he's doing Beatles?
Yeah, but he didn't do complete versions.
I know he didn't.
No, it's not the first. Hold on though. You guys might need to correct me.
He did Long Tall Sally on the university tour, but that's not Beatles.
But what's the in the actual TV version? Because I know we have the outtakes. In the actual TV version of James Paul McCartney during the rest of the band sitting around him in the chair.
He does Yesterday.
He does Yesterday. Okay, in the televised version.
And doesn't he do? He does. Does he do?
He does Michelle too. Actually, you know what?
He does Michelle, and he does
Michelle during the camera session.
I just get confused whether or not that was the outtakes or the actual.
No,
stuff.
that was the actual broadcast. All right, so it's not the first time,
right?
But probably the first time he's doing them. I'm going to say live, because even though those were technically live, again in a setting like this where he potentially could be putting them out for people.
Those versions remind me of like when you do like mic checks. I'll play Bingo. The first half verse.
Yeah, and we should say this was directed by David Litchfield, who was probably pissed off that it never got released.
I'm sure he got paid. So.
I'm sure he got paid too. So again, and they were joined in the studio at Abbey Road 4 days worth. By other stuff like Howie Casey, the saxophonist, and orchestra people, so you could have a nice full band. And we should say that One Hand Clapping also encompasses the Backyard tapes, and that was
One Hand Clapping. You mean the released? We should very much specify
the project,
okay.
because the project was done during those 4 days. Paul decided to go outside and do a bunch of oldies and Beatles and other stuff and his own stuff in the back of E.M.I. Studios, and it was him and David Litchfield with a camera from far away. That's it. And you can
so in what you're reading up before pre-show, is it indicated that the completed film, like in other words, what we got on the Band on the Run box, what we saw as the bootlegs, had none of the backyard.
Correct.
No.
So was that going to be another project from
Yes.
Holistic Project?
No, it
or
was supposed to
really
be.
gonna be.
It was supposed to be a one-hand clapping project.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
from what I've understood and read up. It was all again done the 4 days. Within the 4 days, he just decided to take it outside for some songs and do solo stuff. And when I say solo, without the rest of the band, because quite frankly, there was no room. And you could even if the backyard tapes full, all 25 minutes is on YouTube, people, so you can look at it, and you could hear it. And so that's part of.
Well, also, I think part of it is that we've seen it as two separate things only because the way they was done.
Correct.
If we know it's going to be part of the whole thing, that's one thing. But the way it was released, and I mean bootlegged, was two separate things. So that's what
absolutely. But that's why I was saying though, Rob. I mean, everything that we saw from the bootleg down to the release on Band on the Run, the backyard tapes. I was guessing a decision was made at some point of, yeah, that doesn't fit for whatever reason.
No, I can see that, but as Mitch says, it was part of the project, but it just comes out differently because the way it was bootlegged.
Now again, Rob, you alluded to it in the beginning of the show. We got the DVD on Band on the Run, and I'll go through because I have it listed everything, but throughout the archives for whatever we did get, we got bits and pieces of all of it. Not all of this. I'm sorry, some of this. All right, but there are still a lot that we didn't get. The backyard tapes has a bunch, and we didn't get a couple of things from obviously the one-hand clapping film or sessions, but we got other audio. So regardless of whether we like this or not, it's still not complete. It's not, and I'm not again disparaging this because it sounds amazing, but if you're going to give us this, and you're going to give us, a bonus 7-inch, you might as well just give us everything. There's not that much left over, maybe 4 or 5 songs. I don't need 4 takes of Blackbird like he did in the backyard. They gave us the best take, and that's fine. But I would like, some of the Elvis stuff, Loving You, and, and moving, we're going to move on or whatever it's called. I forgot right now. So there are stuff that we didn't get. So why don't we go through some of this and really, as we do, analyze a lot of it.
Jesus out of it. Sorry.
No, that's all right. So
again, I have a quick question though, a really general question, an overarching and serious question.
Yep.
Give me yay or nay. Jeff Britton. Totally kick ass, not right for Wings.
Wow.
Very yay.
Yay meaning
very good.
I was going to ask Mitch.
Not on everything.
Because he's the drummer.
No, but there's a different energy about this whole album.
Totally different energy, but I got to tell you, man, damn, for me, it's like the guy kicked ass.
He does.
I liked him, but you know what? Paul drums certain ways on Band on the Run, and he wasn't exactly doing what Paul wanted him, maybe, or what Paul had done.
No, but I don't think I don't necessarily think Paul had a problem with it. We never heard anything about Paul, No,
the only he does make a comment to Jeff on one of the songs, but we'll talk about it. So why don't we go through the track listing? Because first of all, the film, as you said, Rob, the film of this in crappy quality, because who knows, if they'll ever make it better. But the film is on the Band on the Run Archive 2010. So if you want to see the DVD, go search it out there. And I'm sure there's plenty of it on YouTube. I haven't looked at everything, but so let's start. I mean, the one-hand clapping itself. Now this comes in, you can get 2 albums and a bonus 7-inch, or you can get CDs and stuff. I'm not sure. I really should have checked. I don't remember if the CD version has the bonus tracks. I don't think so. I think just the LP has the extra bonus 7-inch. So if you really want to get another 7 inches, I sound like an ED commercial. But if you want to get that other 7-inch, you have to buy the vinyl.
Yeah.
And it's I know it, but it's kind of worth it, but in my opinion. But let's go. So,
and I'm sorry, I just want to toss this in. As of this recording in June of 2024, you can find One Hand Clapping in its entirety on YouTube.
Oh, cool. There
Just
you
like
go.
that.
Okay,
So,
great.
so that settles everything. So we don't have to give him any grief about a big box set, because quite frankly, we're getting so many deluxe box sets for up to $1,000, $1,300 from different members of the Beatles that
And
we don't need another box.
and it's on a highly visible, unofficial channel. So
Right.
if he has not put a cease and desist, then it's probably going to be up there in perpetuity.
Right. And he
Just-
probably doesn't care because it's only going to help this.
Interesting.
They,
Yeah,
they
probably.
haven't really gone after YouTube. They do like
Yes, they
once
have.
every 6 months. They clear it out and then they goes back. You know,
Yeah, right. People put it up again and then they clear it out again. But
yeah.
All right,
All
so
right.
let's talk about the one hand clapping theme. I mean, it just shows to me the band is pretty tight. They're much better jam band than the Beatles ever were.
Bingo. It's just it's cute, it's simple, it's got that
Yeah.
funky moog lick, but you're right, it comes off right away. And this is a tight little unit right away.
You know, Paul's done this you don't realize it until I heard this. He's had like little intros on many of the records. You know, Reception on Back to the Egg. You know, Venus and Mars is a short song, goes into Rock Show. Egypt Station has that. He likes to have a little intro. I'm not sure
I think
why.
he likes to jam.
Yeah, well,
He does.
I liked the song. I wish it actually went on longer.
And it fits right in with the other instrumentals, with the Zoo Gang, with the
Right, yeah, no,
Lunchbox, Odd Socks, like
It sure does.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, I wasn't when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. But you know what? What's it? Jet Airliner starts off with an instrumental, which has a different name, and
Right.
it's a way of getting another publishing right.
listen, this is 2:15. If it was any longer, we might have a different opinion.
Right. It'd be enough already.
Yeah.
So
Okay, you're right.
So all right. So Jet, it's on the band. This is again. I'm going to tell you where it is. It's on the Band on the Run archive.
Right.
So again, DVD, but the audio is also Band on the Run archive. This one is definitely a bit faster and rockier. I wrote better drums because look, Paul's a good drummer, but Jeff Britton is a real drummer, and I don't mean Paul's not a real drummer. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Jeff Britton was
Paul
an
is a
occupation drummer.
multi-instrumentalist, where Jeff Britton is a drummer.
Right.
And this Jet has so much energy, and it's just a little faster, and I love it. I like it better than I got to tell you, I like it better than the studio version.
Yeah, I'm
I
right
won't
with
go
you.
that far, but I will say that it has a garage band feel.
There you go.
More than the release version, and then even the version that's on Wings Over America with the horns in it. So
Less produced.
yeah. So
And-
I'm sorry,
Go
Tom.
ahead. No, go ahead, Rob.
You can go after Tom.
So hearing this song this way is pretty cool because it does have a totally different feel. That riff sounds totally different without being produced as it was. So I liked it. And this is maybe how it would have sounded, and maybe this is why he didn't tour after putting this together, besides the fact that Jeff Britton left. But what if he wanted it to sound this raw? That's the question.
Wow. I mean, look, he's got to be looking back on it 50 years later, at least, and finding some really nice value in it. Because
sure.
to me, the raw energy, the Mater segment is a little bit crunchier. The synth is really prominent, and I'm gonna get this out of the way right away. I'm sorry, I got a little gnat buzzing around me here. Those of you watching us on video. Yeah, very good. Linda.
Yeah.
We get Linda. Like we get Linda doing the harmonies in the studio, playing the keys, hitting the buttons. There's no, as far as I can see, other than the fact of 1985 when it's playing the orchestra track, there's not a lot of overdubbing here. And that's Linda and that Wings harmony that we love. And you hear it in Jet, you hear it in a lot of songs on this.
Yep.
I just think it's cool. And that makes
No, I
me
agree.
You're right about Linda, because she's higher in the mix instead of the versions we
Yep.
know and love. And
Yeah.
that's different too, because you realize, you know what, she fits very well in here.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, she's
Yep.
not the greatest singer, but guess what? When you put her harmonies with Denny and Paul, like we've discussed, it works. There's a
Yep.
certain sound that was missing after she passed. There really was.
I
Oh,
agree.
definitely.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
So, Soily. Now, this Soily is on Venus and Mars archive from 2014. Again, the energy is just
Smoking.
palpable to me. We didn't even know Soily existed until Wings Over America, and
Right.
And now it's one of my favorite Wings songs. I just love it. It's this one too. The energy is great.
The energy is great, and it's less throughout this whole thing, everything is dry. One thing I really love is McCartney didn't go in the studio and go, oh, well, I better add some reverb on the vocals, and I've got, and because he's got to have separate tracks, there's got to be a multi-track going on of this, but he didn't screw with it. It's palpably dry in such a positive way that there's not like a ton of echo on as well. The other studio versions of Soily, there's a lot of production going on. The live version, the 76 version, is produced despite it being live. This is just cut to the chase rock and roll, man.
Well, one of the things I like about this is that he never went back and like tried to fix it. A lot of this, not that it needed fixing, but Paul fixes it anyway. He'll put on a second vocal, or he redoes the bass or whatever. And this is very raw and soily. Like I said, I understand the words now, and I really, God knows what the words mean.
Well, yeah, you don't understand them, but you can hear them.
Who cares? The riff is so damn good.
Yeah,
and I didn't see Wings Over America in '76, so I didn't know the shock of hearing this new song, which he didn't introduce
as the encore.
As an encore, yeah. That's the song you come back where
you could do "Got to Get You Into My Life" or something, and he does Soily, which nobody knew.
Yeah,
but
so
the effects of the lights and everything, everybody was like, "Oh, that was cool."
Yeah,
and then
so
went to White Castle.
Well, it's a dance tune, man. It's gonna get people up on their feet. And one thing I get a kick out of on this is the drummer with a Tommy gun.
Yeah. And then he goes, yeah, he follows it. He mimics it.
It's great.
I would like to know how much they practice, because you're right. He came in on that the tat-a-tat-tat, and he has to know that's coming. So
this was,
and I think on the Wings Over America version.
I'm sorry, I was saying this is a high-end rehearsal. This is a we're almost ready to take this out. This was not an early, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
No, I was going to say the Wings Over America version also, I think the bass does the do-do-do-do-do instead of the drum.
Yeah, it does actually.
But I like it better with the drum because it has a harder hit, Also, this whole project, Paul is fresh in voice. So there's no rasp. So like Soily, by the end of the show, he had a rasp. I mean, the whole show he was raspy. But this Soily, his voice is very clear, and there's no rasp at all, which that's my one qualm about Wings Over America is the rasp throughout the whole set. It's all good and energetic and stuff, but this Soily I just like. I like a lot of the stuff on here better. But anyway, the next song is a combination of Sea Moon and Little Woman Love. I will be one of the first on record here to say I hate Sea Moon. I cannot stand it. I hate the song. I don't care if it's the single, the live, the heat, and he does it a million times on every. He loves this song. I hate it. I love Little Woman Love. That's one of the most catchy songs, which was the backing of Mary Had a Little Lamb. I wish it was the A side, but quite frankly, I hate Sea Moon. Sorry.
That's really funny. I think that this version is far better sounding than any live tour versions we've heard.
Correct.
In the in-studio environment with proper monitors, et cetera, they might have heard their vocals better. Paul's vocals are a little bit less affected than they are. Like he almost puts on some kind of character, I feel like, when he sings it in the studio. The only thing that that I find is that, in this case, what's his name? Britain's not really struggling with the reggae. But there's another we'll get to later. But Little Woman Love is fun. You are right though. Seamoon's never been one of my favorite.
There's something about it. I don't care about L7. I don't care about any of that.
I've never minded it. I just thought it went on too long. Sometimes Paul needs a 2-minute song, not a 4-minute song.
Hence why it works as a medley with Little Woman Love, which
is and Little Woman Love bounce. I wouldn't put those two songs together at all because there's nothing that connects them. But it worked for this.
Yeah, he did that same thing. James Paul McCartney too. If you think about it,
I'm going to give you 3 little words: Motor of Love. 6 minutes, 21 seconds. Come on, baby.
And 4 minutes.
Again, Seamoon goes on way too long. I mean, by the time he gets to L7, it's like L11. So come on.
There you go.
Now, maybe I'm amazed. It was also on the McCartney Archive 2011. McCartney, not Band on the Run. I love the echo on this version. And now I'm thinking to myself, why would he do that? And I'm thinking if this is going to be perhaps a live album, maybe he's trying to mimic the arena sound.
Sure.
That's the only thing I could think of. But I love the echo on this, and I just think a good song is a good song, and this is a great song.
I wrote my notes. I wrote, "Wow, tremendous!" And I said it's different version than any other in his canon.
Yeah.
And one thing I respected and appreciated is that Jeff Britton hangs back on this.
Yes.
He actually plays to the song. He
like
plays
Ringo.
Differently. Yes, he plays it differently than any other drummer really ever plays it. But my humble opinion, I'm not a drummer. I like to play the drums, but I am not a drummer. I think he plays to the song, and I think he hangs back, and I really like this version.
Don't forget, though, Tony. Sorry, give me 1 sec, Rob.
Sure.
To his point, don't forget, Tony, other than the European tour from 72, there are no other drummers doing this. So he doesn't, it's like Abe now has a bunch of drummers who have done it and does it his own way. But by this time, Jeff didn't have that much to go on, so you could do whatever you want. It's not like in 74, it wasn't the staple that it became actually in 77 with Wings Over America. So
this version, the reason is this is a different version. This is the first time he's doing it as a slower, more ballady way than when he did it for the McCartney album, which sounded like a leftover from Abbey Road. And to me, I don't think they purposely got it right totally on this version. I think the Wings Over America version took off a little bit of the. See, I didn't like the echo on the vocal as much as you did, Tony. I thought it was too much, and I know why they're doing it. They're probably experimenting on it because if it is a live in the studio album, well, it doesn't hurt to try it. So I wasn't bothered by it, but maybe I'm amazed. This is the song that I become the fan on, and it's the reason I'm hanging out with you guys. And so I like the arrangement, but it wasn't exactly yet to where it would get to with Wings Over America. So,
Wings Over America was such a different, but Wings Over America was such a different version from the album. And don't forget, the reason it became a hit in 77 is because it wasn't released as a single in 70. So nobody really even knew, because if it was released as a single, I don't think we would have seen the live single.
You're probably right, but I always thought that, the second single should have been Go Now, which is on this thing too, but that's a whole
that's too, So now My Love is the next one. And to me, this one has way too much echo.
Yeah, a little bit.
In my vision of this, I mean,
that's true. I'm talking about the vocals being really dry, but there are a couple of songs where that's right. There was some heavy echo. Well,
these last two, maybe I'm amazed in My Love, definitely.
Yeah. The dryness, Tony, is the fact that it's not. There's a different live sound that you get in a studio than when you're at Nassau Coliseum or something.
Definitely.
So I think that's definitely part of it.
But look what Giles did to Live at Hollywood Bowl for 2016. He made he made it echoey, so it sounded like you were in an arena, where the 77 version, as garbage as it might have been was still dry and real.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
maybe people think, well, add the echo. It'll sound like you're in the Seattle Kingdom. Well,
Just an echo. You.
Ribbit.
Ribbit.
Sorry, Little
Ribbit.
Rascals, people. Anyway, we are such pop culture geeks. Sorry. Next comes Bluebird.
Wait. You were on my
sorry.
love.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think
You
it's a
talk
really
about
nice. I think it's a really nice try. Like it's a lovely take on the song. It's weird hearing Jimmy doing the take on Henry's exact solo so soon
It's
after
nice.
it's recorded. Yeah, he doesn't quite nail it with but again, Paul seems to almost cut this take loose in a way. His scatting vocal, his doobie doobie doos are a little loose.
Well, it's a rehearsal.
Right, but again, it's the first time on the album where you're actually feeling rehearsal. I just did air
Yes.
quotes. Like it his woes at the end kind of like it really has the potential to be a great performance, but there are little moments that make it not quite a great performance. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree. And one thing about My Love, he knows one thing I like about this, at least the versions we heard, and maybe there's other versions we just don't know about, but they're all complete for the most part. And even if there's like a slight mistake, they just keep going through it, because that's what you do when you play live. You worry about the end later if it was a mistake. So that's, to me, My Love wasn't bad. It's in between. I like the horns on Wings Over America, and of course the version we know and love is the hit version. That version, this is right in between. So Jimmy didn't have the guitar solo down yet. That's very important. That's very, very important part of this song. So
but let's say right off the bat though, Jimmy is a hell of a guitarist.
Oh, no doubt.
Let's give him his props right
no
from the
doubt.
beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, he may not have nailed this one thing because it's rehearsals.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean to write. I didn't mean to highlight.
No, I know.
Yeah, of course.
But my God, I mean, as we saw in Wings Over America and on all the albums, the guy at the age of 18, 19, whatever he was just a phenomenal player.
Yeah, and I think we'll get to it, but there's a couple of moments where he just totally shines. But anyway.
Yeah. So next. Bluebird, now if you have vinyl, this ends side 1. Flip over to side 2, nice. And or side B, and you get Bluebird. And this was on the Band on the Run archive. I love the count-in, and again, I know it's for rehearsal, but I like it a little better than the Wings Over America acoustic, because that just starts off with him explaining the box. And the rhythm box, and I like it. It's just a different opening, so it gave it a different feel. Whether it would have become any, he just did this on Band on the Run, so it's all very familiar. I just think the count-in was just to serve the band, but I like it on here.
I do too. It reminds me though. It reminds me of the version we heard on Underdubbed. And how much I like that version a lot, and this version is very close to that version. So, it's nice that there is a connection between Underdubbed and this in a couple of ways, and Band on the Run too, and leading to Wings Over America, since so many of these songs were on it. So, this, to me, I always thought this was like a practice run to see if they were going to tour. And then, the next year he did. 75, he tours Australia. 76, he comes to America. So, so it does kind of connect. We did, this is sort of a middle ground. This one hand clapping.
Yeah, I think there definitely would have been a tour. If Jeff Britton had stayed, there would have been a tour or much earlier. But I like this version too. I wrote interesting workup. I like the added electric guitar chords throughout.
Yeah.
That come in. Really, really nice touch. And Howie Casey's solo just rocks.
Yeah, he always, so I think it's a keeper. I like it.
Well, I do too.
Now, I'm going to do a little pause here, because the next song is technically Let's Love, the Peggy Lee, the one he wrote for Peggy Lee. But here,
Oh, I thought he wrote it for Pinky Lee. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he did.
I just
It
know.
was Pinky Lee. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It was Christopher Lee, and it was going to be
It
in a
was
horror film.
Christopher Lee, right.
No,
It was
but
Peggy Lipton, but no, I'm sorry.
but he didn't have enough
He
teeth.
did Peggy
Hey,
Lipton.
Oh.
Oh, wow, we just went all, and the next song is Let's Love, by the way.
And
No,
Quincy
but
doesn't like Paul because of this.
you know what,
Oh, I
though?
never thought of that. Wow.
Oh,
Anyway,
wow, I didn't either, but you know what?
wow.
It was way before. It was 64 when
Wow,
he
still,
allegedly,
anyway,
No, 68.
whatever.
dipped his tea bag.
No, but he met her in 64.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it
He
was
met her.
64 at the backyard party they did for charity.
Right.
LA. Anyway, right here
Moving
is
on.
right here is where we should have gotten Suicide.
Yeah.
Because Suicide, Let's Love, and All of You were technically like a little bit a medley, so to speak, because they're short. They did not give us Suicide here. And I'm wondering why, because on the McCartney box, we got the 69-70 demo of Suicide. Now, he tried it like 4 or 5 times. We know he tried to do it again in 76 to give it to Sinatra. Sinatra said, no way. But are you kidding me? But it should have been here. I don't understand. Is this because of the theme of it, Suicide? I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't have it as the next track. It should be here. And
Yeah,
it's not. It's omitted.
It could be
I'm like,
thematic.
okay.
But anyway, so Suicide is not here, but Let's Love is, and it's a very short minute version. Peggy Lee's version is good. I like Peggy Lee's version. This one again is short, and then I'm going to do All of You at the same time because it's sorted together. All of You is pretty. I wish it had a full band on it, but the two of them are necessary because they're songs he wrote for others or himself. But it's okay. I think he's noodling around, and he just did those.
I am torn over this.
Are you Gilbert Godfrey?
It's just eating at me. I'm torn over this. I don't know what to think or do.
You actually do that pretty well. You do it better than the Beatle accents.
Yes, he does.
Anyway,
Yes, he
right?
does.
So I don't know.
But you don't have to do it anymore.
Let's Love. Not a great song when Peggy Lee covered it. Still not a great song. To Rob's comment, a great song is a great song. What's what?
It did well for Peggy on the album. It did. The album got critically acclaimed.
Absolutely. And the album's very good. And Peggy Lee does a really nice version of a not so great song. I just don't think it's a good song. I think All of You is crap. I really think both of these in a row just complete throwaways. I just sit there and I just go, why? For the sake of completism, I understand. But if you were gonna go with completism, then damn it, why don't we have Suicide? So
wait, time out. You realize what you just said?
What Tony wants is he wants those two songs, and then he wants to commit suicide.
And then seriously, not to be funny, but if you're gonna give me these two, which I don't ever have to really hear again for the rest of my life. If you're going to give them to me for the sake of, well, it's Paul noodling, but we're going to include it, then for God's sake, put Suicide at the beginning of the 3 songs so that at least we have them all. Anyway.
And then you can include like a little capsule of cyanide with the record as a bonus.
Bonus 7-inch single and Suicide pill.
I actually like All of You. And
Thank you.
Wish
we
that
like
maybe
you too.
He had taken it and put it on Kisses on the Bottom, done a version there.
Oh my!
There you go.
I think that would have been a nice place for Let's Love, maybe, but I think All of You would have been a nice placement. He always has some original songs on these cover albums he's done. So I didn't mind it. I just this is Paul on the piano. It's like, okay, piano time. It's just me, and I didn't mind. I thought it was cool.
It's okay.
They're short enough, so it's not like they're not 6 minutes.
No.
And just to in all seriousness, just to take a moment so we don't have to add a card at the end of the show.
Oh yeah.
We are not making light of the concept of suicide.
No.
In any way.
We are not.
Right.
We're talking about
not at all.
It's
we
a
think our
McCartney
shows
song.
prevent suicide.
There we go. No, but I mean our it was a song title, and it's actually a goofy little song, but it's not a bad McCartney song,
They
really.
gave it to us already, so it should have been
Yeah.
here. And yes,
Yeah.
Tony, we're not making light of
No,
suicide
no.
whatsoever. Believe me.
Yeah,
We're
no,
just having
but
fun at the expense of it not being here, and it's a
not
song.
being here. Yeah.
But
And
let's move on. I'll give you a ring. This was nice, but again, McCartney noodling. I love the B-side of Take It Away, the whole band recording.
yeah.
But this is nice. I mean, but it's just repetitive. It's only 2 minutes. And again, noodling around. Completist, yes, great. And it's nice to know that it was done at least, 7 or 8 years prior to when it was really released. So it's nice to have it here. If again, for people who don't know about one hand clapping and they're watching the DVD or listening to this, now you're getting something that's kind of cool because Tug of War is pretty much critically acclaimed, and this is part of that collection with the B-side.
Right.
I want to say something about this demo, what I call the demo, because he's playing on just piano.
Yep.
First of all, placing it in 1974 to me connects it more to John because he'd seen John at that time.
Oh,
that's
a good point.
That's interesting as heck.
That's a good point.
And second of all, is it me or is the vocal taken from this version and they added on to the version that became the B-side? Because the phrasing, there's certain phrases he did on this demo that sound exactly like the released version. Like
some of it, yeah. When
maybe they took this. I've never seen it, and I doubt he did it. But the fact that he copied it the same way from this demo, as I call it, was incredible. Just little things in his voice.
That's fascinating.
When he says you look a little low, like that stuff. It's hard to do that twice.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
sure he could because he's Paul McCartney, for God's sake. But you're right. It does sound like maybe he flew in.
Yeah, now you're gonna make me run back and listen to, which again everyone can find on YouTube. Now you're gonna make me want to listen to the version he does on the piano tape from '74 and see if he does the.
Now since you brought that up, I was gonna bring it up at the end, but I'll bring it up now.
Uh-oh.
Why isn't the piano tape included in this? If you're gonna give this presentation of the piano tape is
box.
Yeah, but
I know, Rob, but you could, again, we can only.
The piano tape's not going to come out separate.
No,
you have to think that, Rob, the piano tape was, as far as we can tell, the piano tape was not a professional recording. You would have been downgrading, the sonic value of the release because it's
sonically, this is great.
I agree with that. I'm not saying otherwise, but the piano tape shows an artist in creativity mode.
Totally.
Which, it's nice to hear when we've heard it. And it's like, wow, this isn't something I'm going to play on my show, maybe, but I want to see how some of these songs become these songs.
Sure.
And I'll Give You a Ring was on that too.
But Rob, your point about John Lennon with 74, now, he was supposed to go to Nashville until he went back to Yoko.
Yep.
So,
that was something he recorded in June of 74. He records, and was John supposed to go to Nashville then? Because he was supposed to go to New Orleans in 75, and then he going back to Yoko. So,
right, you're right. I'm sorry. So, yeah,
but
you're correct. But still, he could have been thinking about his buddy.
Could have.
Because he passed, but we know it was done earlier. But let's move on. So Band on the Run is next, and it's Band on the Run Archive. It was on. I think this has a little too much echo. It sounds nice, but to me, it's too much echo on this one. But again, a different feel from the studio, and I like what Jeff does here as a drummer. I just think, and it's a nice take, just too much echo.
So I just wrote fantastic live run through. There are some tiny, sloppy moments, very tiny on guitar mostly, but it all jibes, it all works, and it has a live feel. So what's not to like?
You know what I liked about this? Linda's Moog playing, her keyboard playing. I thought it was, this is only like a couple of years after she's learned how to play.
Right.
It's not bad. So I was like, okay, good for Linda. I thought there was a little too much echo on the vocal, and it was a rough version, but it doesn't bother me. I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
It's so interesting because I've listened to it over the last couple of days, and it's just very funny. But yeah, you're right. We're talking about a number of the songs do have echo, but there's just this feeling that the vocals are more crisp. Like they're the vocals are just very kind of in your face, even when that's why I keep thinking that they're dry, but they're really not dry.
They're not as dry
anyway.
as you think. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So again, the next song is the end of the first LP and also the end of the film, because there's no more after this in terms of DVD. Babyface. This is cute. This was also on the Venus and Mars.
No, hold it. We skipped over.
I skipped over 1900 and I skipped on 2 songs. My God, I'm rushing things.
Bad narrator.
Sorry. You're right.
Moderator.
Live and Let Die is next. My goodness. Live and Let Die is next. And this is nice. It's not as dramatic as the release one, but it's still nice. It just doesn't have, I don't think has the oomph of the released one, but it's still good.
I don't mind that though. I just wrote too cool. I said it's like having an alternate studio version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing about Live and Let Die is, as the song is mutated over the years when we heard it live, it's gotten bigger props, bigger noises, explosions and everything else. So hearing this version where they're still kind of figuring it out is nice. It's a nice touch. I have no problem with it.
All right, so now
more Linda too. More Linda in the background vocals on this one.
Yep,
higher in the mix.
We get 1985, which was on the Band on the Run archive. This one is 5 minutes and 50, when everything else is not that much longer. And I like this song, and it's not too much different than the release version to me.
Right.
And so did it have to be almost 6 minutes? Motor of Love? I'm not sure, but it's nice to have on here, and I didn't want them to cut it for the sake of, room or anything. I'm glad they left the full version, but it's okay. I mean, it sounds just like, except for the reprise of Band on the Run, it sounds exactly like the recording.
I just even wrote
Go. You go first, Tony.
No, I was going to write. I actually wrote, was the whole backing redone, or was this basically the studio track with a new lead vocal?
So there you go.
I thought it was half Paul and the piano, and then there was an edit, because all of a sudden Paul's vocals different. The strings are way too good, and also on the version on, get this, the version on Band on the Run has Band on the Run at the tag. The version on One Hand Clapping doesn't.
Right, the reprise. Yeah.
That little thing. So they left it in 2010. They added it on, but on this version, it just cleanly ends.
Oh, you mean the Band on the Run archive version?
Yeah. So
One Hand Clapping. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, wow. and on Underdubbed, remember they took it off because it wasn't at the end of the album. Right. And it makes sense that it's at the end. So, but to me, it seems like they edited the second half of the release song onto this. The backing,
no, his vocal's still live.
It might be, but the backing track is definitely the version that was released.
Okay.
So, at least it sounded to me.
So now we get to Babyface,
yes.
The end of the DVD and the end of the first side. This was, again, Venus and Mars Archive in 2014. Very fun. It's just him noodling again. I like the fact that they, that he says, if I can get the chords right, it's fun. And when he says Tootsie Face, that's just typical McCartney doing, when I'm 64 or, all that honey pie.
I wrote in my notes, cute bit of Paul doing his usual music hall thing.
There you go. That's why, we'll, no matter what the fans think, we're going to be in a booth somewhere talking Beatles in the diner. Because we think alike, all of us.
The funny thing is he loves going to this song. This is like one of those songs that it was embedded him when he was like 7, in one of those McCartney parties, where everyone's getting drunk and little Paul's watching, his father playing piano or something.
Not one of your parties.
Not one of my parties. No, I don't vote you guys. You know that.
Yes. Well, if you're playing the whole White Album, we don't want to come.
Little do we know, he's had Paul at his house getting drunk. Well, sorry.
Yeah, like Paul's coming over.
That, right?
Paul's going, Rob, Babyface goes, sorry, Paul, I need to hear long, long, long.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, so now we get to the second disc or second album, and this stuff is not on the DVD. Let Me Roll It is first. This was on the Band on the Run archive. I like it a lot. It's again, you know, a good song is a good song, and this one he loves. We know because he still plays it now when he does his tours, and then he does his Foxy Lady thing to show people he can play guitar, which he definitely can. But this is a nice version. I like it.
The open's different. It's not, you know, the typical open. So when I first came on, I'm like, well, what's this? And
well,
then, you know,
I don't think it's that much different.
Well, you know, it's a different open. You know, it's basically a bass note open, and this was more of a guitar thing. So, you know, I mean, I like it, and I would love to know why he plays it on every. I mean, he doesn't do Yesterday on every tour.
Well, there's a reason.
Well,
Let Me Roll It is a hard song to sing because it's a high register. Yesterday is a solo song that would show off his current voice, and I don't think he wants people because
I'm not talking about just I'm
no,
just
I understand. I get it, but but that's why he probably has dropped songs like Yesterday and still does Let Me Roll It because it's a rocker.
I have no problem with him dropping Yesterday, so
I would have no problem with him dropping Let Me Roll It. I've never. It's just never been a favorite of mine. When the fully remastered, you know, I like the underdubbed a little bit. I liked the very last remastering that was done. I heard little bits, but I don't get it with this song. I'm not sure why Paul gets off on it so much. It's a well-played version. The dual guitars are nice in this one. I'll give you that.
Maybe because it's to John.
Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know. 5.5 minutes.
Maybe it's to his drug dealer, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe right. His drug dealer gets a commission for every time. I'm kidding everybody.
I know. So far, we're really getting killed for suicide and now drug dealing. We don't condone drugs.
No, we don't condone rolling it either. Just put it in a pipe and smoke it. For God,
it's legal now. Come on, guys.
I know.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's all right. Let's go to Blue Moon of Kentucky. Now, this one's 3 minutes. He likes this song too because he did it on Unplugged. This one is where he said, "You're giving me funny looks, Jeff." And I don't. I would love to see why he's giving him funny looks, but I like this version.
We're talking about Jeff Emmerich, by the way. You know, just so people know.
Jeff Emmerich, right? Yeah. I think I said earlier that it might have been Jeff Britton. You're right. I'm wrong.
At least I think it is.
Well, we don't know. There's 2 Jeffs now.
That's right.
Like 2 Georges.
It could have been either one. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to picture that both of them were making funny looks. It's funny. So, what do you guys think?
I think it starts a little sloppy. It turns into a really cute little rave up. Who's on harp? Is that Denny?
I would assume it was. Because he did do harmonica.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that was Denny. And the harmonies are fun, and I like it. It's one of the ways I really enjoy.
And the Threedles did it, so Paul loves this song.
And he did it on Unplugged too. So
so the next one is fun. Sorry, Rob. Did you want to say something else?
Well, I just say it was a nice. He turned it into this nice rock song, and I really, you know, I'm used to the version where he does it slow and then he does it fast. This is just straight ahead, and more like the Elvis version than the Bill Monroe version. So.
I like what Jeff Britton does on this one. So
yeah.
Now the next one is a very big. I love the medley on Red Rose Speedway. All right, I'm just telling you right. You'll get your say. No, but I love. He took Power Cut, and it's a nice surprise to me. It reminds me the way he intros it reminds me of the BBC tapes because he said this one's for a girl in Edinburgh, and we want to do it for Marjorie. You know, and to me, I love the BBC tape, and I love the medley. So this one, it's only 1:33, but you know what? I like it.
I love the fact that he does the phony BBC request thing. I love that Power Cut is like a half a minute now. So I'm very happy with this version. So
I just wrote we didn't get the song Suicide, but we got this. Yeah, I don't know.
Lucky we didn't get Hands of Love, okay?
But no, I mean I've grown to like the medley a
Medley.
lot.
I
A lot.
love it. I really do.
But I just thought this was like another like, all right, well, that's a minute and a half of my life I don't get back. But
Yeah,
all
but
right.
you know what? It's only a minute and a half, so
I
there's
know.
worse. So
All right. Anyway.
all right. Anyway, Love My Baby is next, and this was on the Venus and Mars archive as well as a digital download only. And as Rob pointed out off mic, it's not even there anymore.
It was on paulmccartney.com. So
Right.
when he used to put remember when he did the archive series, and then he'd have one extra song that you had to
Or
download?
two extra sometimes. He used to release them every week or something. Love My Baby was on there. It's okay. It's short, but it's okay. It's fun.
These short songs, some of them should have been finished, or maybe they were finished, and he just said, I forget. He writes in his sleep, and most all of it's great. So,
well, we know yesterday. Come on, we know the whole story. So
I know, you see,
he writes
Number
in
42 on the greatest hits.
Number 43. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I just wrote, it's Bip Bop turned sideways. I like wrote this note to myself. What I say about this kind of stuff is that if it had been something of mine that I had found 25 years later, I probably would have erased it, not actually released it. But then again, I ain't friggin' Paul McCartney.
Correct.
I wrote, this is the kind of stuff that made bootlegs fun, but now I can't help but make you ask why.
You know what? Again,
if you add all that stuff up on the album, it maybe takes
a minute.
5.5 minutes. So as I wrote to myself in my notes, shut the hell up, Tony.
Pretty sad when you're schizophrenic enough to actually write all the notes out and then say, but shut the hell up. So you write it all out, and the guy on the side, he comes out of this side of the brain, goes, oh.
The other, be quiet, Tony.
Exactly. He's right.
No, Tony, they're very nice. We like those little songs.
You got good Paul on this side, bad Paul on this side.
And sinuensis on your hand.
Sinuensis in my hand.
That's why I said difficult for you. Anyway, I'm going to do the next two because it's Let It Be, Long and Winding Road, and Lady Madonna. 3 minutes for the whole two songs. Nice. The Let It Be is very ethereal sounding because it's got different organ, but they're nice and fun, but they're short and they're Beatles. But they're Beatles, and it is nice to hear them do it, and nice.
But on the press release, they made it sound like these were full songs, and they're not.
Yeah,
I know. And a minute and two, and again 2 minutes for the two songs.
Yeah,
it's nice enough. Listen, I think he included them because it. Completism, but also it's nice to have a few Beatles on here.
I guess you have to sell it,
Very, very, very familiar. And the fact that you thought they were full songs because of the press release tells you that they did that on purpose.
Oh, I know that.
I know. If you say, and this has Let It Be in the Long and Winding Road of Lady Madonna, and you go, we've never had that from one hand clapping. Well, now we do, but it's only 3 minutes for three of them. So anyway. All right, so the next one you flip.
Well, wait. Hold on. I just was gonna say this is the one case where I wish that the quickie throwaways had been complete takes. I mean, I really do wish.
I would agree with you. I agree. Long and Winding Road has that open, which I like a lot better than the
very nice
old open.
Yeah, and I thought Let It Be on I guess that's a harmonium. I can't figure out what that.
It sounds like it sounds almost like a church organ.
Yeah, but I thought it was lovely. I like the vocal that he starts off on Long and Winding Road. He kind of plays up the Fats Domino-ish kind of vibe in the little quick Lady Madonna. Just wish it was I wish both these were real takes.
If you don't mind, I'm going to bring up what you told me off mic. And I'm not going to be crass or anything, but you told me basically it was like McCartney masturbation, these songs, and what did you mean by that?
It's doing it, we didn't see it in the movie.
Right.
So he's doing this to please himself. There's nothing wrong with that. you know, and by the way, this is an endorsement for Mass. No, I'm kidding. But
More things we're talking about.
more things we're talking about there.
Off
No.
topic.
We do condone
Do
masturbation.
condone anyway. But I'm saying, what's the old Woody Allen? It's sex with someone I love. Anyway, I'm kidding. Anyway,
The impersonations
We get to
continue.
Woody Allen.
I don't know.
Woody
No,
Allen and Gilbert Godfrey.
But it's Paul pleasing himself. He's doing one of his songs in a
I get
slightly
it now.
different way. And he's playing. There's no goal that it's going to be heard this way by an audience. He's not trying to please somebody else. He's just sitting by himself doing, and you know, is that the kind of thing that you want someone looking in and watching and hearing you do, or is it not? You know, it's that whole idea of it's Paul McCartney. If this had been a lesser artist, would they have put that out? You know,
Agreed. I just wanted to understand, because I think it's important, you know, not the masturbation part, but, you know, basically the concept of what you were saying. You're playing stuff you love for yourself. You're
like Ricky
yourself.
Nelson says, you can't please everyone, so you've got to be
please
Paul McCartney.
yourself.
There you go. Anyway,
so let's go. Now you're either listening on the disc or you're flipping it over if you have the album. Junior's Farm and Sally G are next. I'm grouping them together because both of them were recorded in Nashville a month earlier, fresh on their minds. And Junior's Farm, it's a great take. I love it.
I was very impressed that the fact that this song is a month old when they go and do this one-hand clapping, how tight the Junior's Farm was. I mean, because the rest of it, it's different. This is the band that's playing. These are songs they did in Nashville. And wow, Junior's Farm. This is maybe my favorite version. Yeah, I was very, very impressed with this version. And then Sally G, you know what? I like this version a lot too. They wanted a country thing, but this is much more like probably the way he wrote it. You know, more of a strumming thing and way he was hitting certain chords a certain way. You know, he didn't have. You know, I keep hearing on Sally G where the strings and
and also the harmony you hear.
Yeah, the harmony. So, both of them are great, and you know, this is the band. These two should have been the beginning of.
Well, Sally G, there's no band. It's
right, just Paul.
Right, yeah, you know what I mean. But the fact that they recorded this a month earlier, in July of '74 in Nashville. So, man, Junior's Farm just jumps off. The sound of the disc. It's just incredible the way it sounded. They were tight on this.
Definitely, song. I agree. Totally agree, Rob. I mean, this is my favorite version of Junior's Farm. I mean, in a way, how could it not be Smokin'? Because it's the band that just recorded it,
right.
But it's so funky, and I love the live harmonies. A little different than on the record, just
the
way they're mixed, and then Sally G is one of my favorite Paul tunes, and to hear it just him on acoustic, it's killer as far as just
that Sally G lyrically, to your point, Sally G is brilliant. I mean, I mean, even the last line, you never knew what the letter G stood for, but you knew it wasn't good. I mean, wow. I mean, and I gotta tell you, you know, this is, for those who don't know, Sally G is the only Paul McCartney song to actually chart in the country charts.
Yep.
39. Yeah.
Funny.
It's important to know because, you know, obviously Ringo was doing it with Bucos of Blues and stuff, but Sally G is a really good song.
And I don't know how this happened this way, but you want to know something funny? I was with my parents, and I may have told the story in the show before. I was in the car with my parents the week this single came out, and we were driving down from Canada, going through upstate New York, and there were a couple of country music stations. And my dad was flipping the radio and trying to find something to listen to because we were out of our comfort zone. And I heard, and here comes the new single from Paul McCartney. And I said, "Oh, Dad, don't." And it was freaking Sally G.
Wasn't it the B-side?
It was the B-side, but we were listening to a country station.
Right.
coming down from upstate New York, and here's the brand. I mean, I had not heard Junior's Farm yet, and heard Sally G. Here's the new Paul McCartney single out today, and they're playing Sally G.
Yeah.
Great song. I got to be honest.
Yeah, and it's Paul. To me, it's just Paul, and I don't say just in a bad way. It's Paul, almost like an exercise in writing. Oh, I can write one of those Nashville tunes. One of them story songs. Night the lights go out, and I can do that. And he writes Sally G. Probably,
and it's really, but the band on Sally G
on the record
is
Nashville.
So good. On this, it's just him and the acoustic.
Yep,
and it sounds brilliant.
Yep.
Right, anyway. and just one thing, it's a little off the track, but Ringo and Buck Owens, Act Naturally went to number 27 in 1989. He's the only other Beatle on a country chart.
Wow!
And wouldn't it be great now that you just brought it up, Tony, about the country station? Who's doing a country album right now? Ringo. Wouldn't it be great to him do Sally G?
No. I don't think he can pull it off.
Oh, that would be fun though, man. That
would have to be a real deep Sally G. He couldn't do it the way Paul did it.
No, but it would be a different version. It's a great country story song. It has a lot of things in it. Just an idea. Ringo's listening.
The next song is probably one of my favorite Paul McCartney songs, Tomorrow. And this version, the slow version, is killer to me.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness, is this and again, it's only 2 minutes long, but first of all, I love this on Wildlife, and not too many people know it because it's on Wildlife. I love that version, which is amazing. This version, slow, I could listen to all day. I just love it. It's a great song, and it's a great feel with this slow version.
Here's the funny thing, sometimes we totally are on the same page. Other times I wrote, this is very nice, but definitely not for multiple listens.
Oh,
I said, but I wrote, I have to admit, it's very, very cool to hear him rework this song.
Quickly, yeah. I mean, it's 3 years, but still.
But he could have done this tune live. Nobody would have known what the hell it was, but he could have done it in this version. It's almost like gospel-y in its vibe.
Yeah.
And to have done this in in the live environment, I think would have been cool as all hell. But anyway.
Well, I agree with you, Tony, and I agree with you, Mitch. This is Paul at the piano only. There's a bunch of songs like this where it's just Paul, and I really enjoy this version of Tomorrow. And we've talked about earlier in the show, this to me seemed like a live album in the studios it's being sold as, but I always thought this was like a practice to see, okay, are we ready to maybe tour? And
would he have done this on tour, you think, Tomorrow?
That's what I'm thinking. In 1974 maybe, but by 75, 76 he had 2 other albums to promote. Right. So songs got let go, like Tomorrow. Tomorrow would be a great song for him to do live. Not now, but back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. Next song is Go Now. It's nice that they kept us in, gave Denny his piece. It's definitely different than the Wings Over America.
Yes,
but it, again, and we've said it a million times, a good song is a good song. Yep. Denny has a great voice. He delivers it really well. God bless him wherever he is now. And I got to tell you, I love it. I've always loved Go Now. And as you said, Rob, he wouldn't have put it out as a single because it's still Denny singing, meaning, in live. And who knows, contractually licensing, all that good stuff. But a great version. I really like this on here.
Agreed. Yeah,
I agree. It's I was glad that they did it on, it's on the Wings Over America album. To me, it's Denny's best vocal, but also I like the way Paul and Linda do the backing harmonies very well.
But it's different on here than in Wings Over America.
Yes, it is. It's not the version we know and love from Wings Over America.
It's not as prominent.
Yeah, no, you're right. But at the same time, it works very well, and I'm glad they gave Denny a song. I wish they gave Linda a song. At that
what would
time
she
she
have
was
sung
doing
at
some
that
lead
time?
vocals.
Seaside Woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Seaside
but
Woman would have been a good choice.
Seaside Woman. But yeah, I'll tell you why it wasn't a good choice. Go ahead in a minute.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're so
No, it's connected to another.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, unless they, quite frankly, we're going to talk about this. They now do another interesting choice with Wildlife. But if to Rob's point, if they're doing two songs from Wildlife, they could easily have done "I Am Your Singer," because both of them would have played off each other.
That
I
But
would
anyway,
not. I would not choose that song, but
I love that song.
I love the song too, but it didn't really work that well live. It was okay.
Yeah,
But although
okay.
by now, you know what though? A year and a half later,
Yeah,
they're singing tighter together.
correct.
Good
Now,
song.
Wildlife is a very interesting choice. It's shorter than the release version by about 2 minutes.
thank God.
Thank God is right. This one has grown on me over the years. It's an interesting choice. It's grown on me, and they do it really well here. But he did it really well on the European tour also in '72. I thought it was, I thought it was an interesting choice back then. It's still interesting here. But I
don't know. I'm gonna go on that one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it's hard to believe that we now have more officially released versions of Wildlife than we do Uncle Albert. That just
wow.
Unfortunately, am I right? Unfortunately, I really do genuinely feel that the band don't handle this one very well.
Okay.
It's not nearly. Sywell and McCulloch got this song to be funky, and I feel like somehow Jeff and Jimmy weren't really feeling it. It might have been maybe one that was a little bit newer in the phase of rehearsals,
maybe
than some of the others. The ooh break, the little break in there is kind of cool. I like that, but other than that, I found this one fell short. I knew why it wasn't in the movie. I heard it. Okay, it's cool. I'll play it again, but I can tell why it wasn't.
I like this version because it's shorter. It's
right.
It's a little bit, I like a lot of things about it. But I wrote this. I wrote like this version, but don't love it.
Well, his voice is McCartney. Definitely every version I've heard, even the release version, McCartney nails it. The vocals. I love his.
Yeah.
I love the way he does it. But anyway, next one is, and the last song, before you get to the bonus 7-inch, is "Hi Hi Hi." I don't like this version. I don't think it smokes. I like the studio version better. I just don't. This didn't grab me the way I thought it should.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, bro.
To me, it's on its way to the Wings Over America version. It's not there yet.
Right.
So,
and it's not even the studio version. I like the studio version better.
It's very funny. I always had a predilection toward this version because it was the first thing I ever heard from One Hand Clapping.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of like I always had, but hearing it now up close again with the new remix and stuff, I realized that for whatever reason, poor Jeff Britton is really struggling with the little reggae section in this tune.
Yeah, that's true.
It gets there and it goes to the reggae bit, which now that's back to why you don't get Seaside Woman.
There you go.
Jeff gets
maybe he wasn't that drummer.
There's one song that had look. I've known some of the greatest drummers I've ever played with and some of the greatest bass players I've ever played with. And it's always either I'm not Sly, I'm not Robbie, nope, reggae doesn't work. And it just strikes me that it gets to that middle reggae break and I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. Britton, what are you doing exactly? He gets through it and it's cool, whatever he does, but it ain't reggae, whatever he's doing. It's right in Jimmy's wheelhouse, though.
Yes,
Jimmy smokes it. So anyway, but go ahead.
It's on its way.
Tony, you left out something you said off mic, which is very important.
What's that?
That you can understand the lyric now.
Oh yeah, he's get you ready for my body gun. Stop. Anybody who actually still thinks that, Paul says polygon, and that's what he says. No, he does not. You listen to this one, and you damn well know he says body gun.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the lyrics in the music book that I have say polygon.
Yeah, okay. He wants to put his polygon in your rhombus.
Well, I know what
Come
he's
on.
saying. I'm just saying what's on the lyric sheet on the music book that
Next thing,
the
yeah,
McCartney Wings book I bought in '79.
I mean,
yeah,
then again, you could question why he's calling the individual that he wishes to partake with, why he calls them sweet banana. So I don't know. There's other issues that maybe go. I have no idea.
No
He found
comments
her
on
Not
that.
that
very,
there's anything wrong with that. But
excuse
anyway.
me, he found sweet banana very appealing. There you go. I
You're
had,
a bad
come
And
on.
by the way, everyone, we're not against sweet bananas or anything like
Or,
that.
or polygons.
Or polygons either.
I
we
love
have,
parallelograms.
I was just about to say we have nothing against any particular geometric shape.
No,
You could be acute, you could be obtuse. We love
octagon, baby.
Octagon, baby.
you. Anyway,
Wow.
so now you get to the bonus 7-inch, and mostly this is all of the backyard stuff. Before we even continue, I will say there's songs on here. There's an instrumental version of Great Day, which we do not get. There are 3 other takes of Blackbird that we don't get, which is fine. There's Sweet Little 16, Loving You, and We're Gonna Move. And now those last 2 are Elvis Presley songs that he covered. And we, again, I don't know if they maybe should have given us another LP with the other 4, and we would have complained and bitched and moaned like everybody we do.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know about Blue Moon of Kentucky. I have no idea. But
What
I
do you
do
mean Blue
know
Moon of Kentucky? That we already talked about that.
right, that we talked about. I do know that, look very carefully, he doesn't have to pay anyone for any of these. I don't know if he owns 20 Flight Rock. I might be wrong. I'm sorry. But he owns the 2 Buddy Hollies.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's
So
I don't know.
maybe they just, you look, when you're doing a project like this and you pull something off the shelf.
he owns Great Day, though. It's an instrumental, but he owns
He
Great
does.
Day.
Right. But you know, maybe the Elvis stuff was just a pain in the neck.
It
You know,
normally
And
isn't.
Chuck
They're happy
Berry?
to make money.
And Chuck Berry, the sweet
they
little
are. Look, like I say, maybe it's the idea that, 20 Flight Rock, Chuck Berry.
Now,
No,
Eddie
no,
Cochran.
20 Flight isn't.
Eddie
20 Flight Rock is Eddie Cochran.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
now
Chuck
you
Berry,
can
Sweet Little
find, again, on YouTube as of this taping, you can find the full backyard tape.
right.
Audio-wise, there's a couple of clips of him doing one song, but audio-wise, the full 25 minutes or so is on there. So you can hear Sweet Little 16, Loving You, The Great Day. But anyway, what they do give us is Blackpool. It's a nice little, acoustic song. I'm not sure he would get away with it like today because of all the PC stuff. I like them heavy and tall, not skinny and small.
Oh, that's nothing.
I know. It's nothing, but we didn't get Suicide, so who knows? I'm
Yeah.
being very serious. But this is, Blackpool's nice. It's nothing great. It's okay.
No, I agree. It's nothing major about it.
It's fun to have, especially since some fans who don't collect bootlegs may have never heard it. But is anyone who is going to buy the exclusive vinyl version not someone who has been collecting the bootlegs?
Probably, you're probably right.
So the truth is, what the frig does this song mean?
Nothing.
Like it's and
48.
so
He's like, what? Okay.
yeah, I was like, is it women's measurements? Is there something in Blackpool like maybe it's the buses?
Well, he's saying 48
like-
is probably 1948.
But
I
you
know.
don't know. So to me, and I'm gonna just go ahead right now and just go through and basically say, other than the fact that the Country Dreamer's a little cute, and that 20 Flight Rock is just a huge part of Paul's history.
Right.
I think this whole thing was a waste.
All right. So you know what? Let's do what you just did, because we don't have to analyze everything. Blackbird, we've heard a million times. All right. Country Dreamer sounds really nice. That was on the Band on the Run archive, by the way.
Yeah.
So we didn't need it. It's very sweet.
Right.
And again, like you said, 20 Flight Rock, Peggy Sue and I'm Gonna Love You Too are really good. He messes up the lyrics of I'm Gonna Love You Too, but he keeps going. But you're right. But you know what? It's marketing wise, it's cool to have a bonus 7-inch if you want to make the money
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
That's all. And vinyl is so popular now
It's become,
that
you know,
it's become the number
it's
one.
like
Yeah. So
1977. I like 20 Flight Rock a lot. And Tony, you're right. This is a very
Piece of his
important
history.
song to Paul.
yeah,
Peggy Sue and I'm Gonna Love You Too. You know what I said? First of all, it's great hearing him sing Buddy Holly, and especially the next year he buys the catalog. But then I'm reminded of the Denny Lane Holidays album, which Paul basically did, and then
Right.
had Denny do the leads on it. But I assume that there's Paul leads somewhere on a tape somewhere. So it was nice to me to hear
Interesting.
Peggy Sue, and especially I'm Gonna Love You Too, because that's not a song that people choose to of Buddy Holly's to cover. Even though Denny Lane, it was released as a single when he did Holidays. So but I really like those two Buddy Holly songs. Blackpool, you're right. It's a fun lyrically, but you know, is that the Blackpool is supposed to come out like from Pipes of Peace or something? Well, didn't he record a version? Or am I just?
Ugh. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I can't remember.
And again, Blackbird I like, but I love Blackbird, but we've heard it a lot.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
you're right, Tony. This is kind of. I wish I know why he did it, because he's calling it the backyard bonus 7-inch, but quite frankly, other stuff, and I understand why. But
if you'd have given me the whole thing on a if you'd have had the website version be an extra 12-inch record,
right,
and you give me the whole backyard tape with all 4 takes of, it would have been like, oh, completism. Yeah, that's cool to have.
Maybe record store day.
Doubtful.
I'm just saying. I know,
but I doubt it. But like, it's nothing. It's nothing that I will. It's nothing, sadly, that I will feel compelled to have to buy that version to own
or
it.
listen again.
Or listen again. If
like
I'm going to
Fly
listen
on the
to
Wall
it,
disc of Let It Be Naked.
Truthfully, I'd probably play it off the bootleg just to hear the whole thing.
Right.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah,
but I, like I said, the Buddy Holly stuff is really good.
Yes.
I was really happy to see that.
And again, Paul's voice throughout the whole thing is amazing, and the background stuff, it's really great. So for that reason, I like it, but I understand where you're coming from, Tony. So overall, a very fun, great sounding disc, in my opinion. Very fun. Is it necessary? No. Is it vital in his catalog at the moment? No, but it's vital to him for, it's a 50th anniversary thing. I just, like I said at the top, I wish I would have, I didn't care if it's an anniversary or not, because I would have liked the other stuff first and then this come out, and I would have been just as happy to not celebrate the anniversary, but still to hear it, because I think it's important to have, because it was a shelf project.
I would recommend it to somebody who was, putting together a McCartney collection. I would say, grab this. It's cool. It's cool. It's a really fun.
But you would grab the CD version. You
I'd
wouldn't
grab the CD version,
and then find someone who can get to the other track.
Well, one thing, if I was going to shorten it a little bit, I would take out like the really short songs, like Tomorrow. If you want to go for full songs that people who don't know Paul McCartney, you say,
but complete.
You don't want the goofy stuff, not goofy stuff, but you don't want the stuff that is we like. But maybe someone said, well, why did he do that? I don't know.
But it's missing. But you got to remember, though, like we said, Mitch, it's missing the song Suicide. So if you're looking at completism.
And it's missing some backyard stuff.
And it's missing some backyard. So it falls down a little bit there anyway.
Right.
So, like,
you're right.
Saying,
if they would have taken out the minute stuff.
If you had given us a single album of just bang, like the killer band stuff, it would have made it a kind of vital, like, hey, man, if you're getting into Paul McCartney, get this.
But then again, Tony, if you give us the best band stuff, now you're talking about audio of the DVD, and now people are going to be bitching and moaning because what you just.
No, that's not true, because some of the great audio is not on the DVD.
Yeah, okay. Junior's Farm is one of them that's not on the DVD.
Okay, all right. If you're going to go that way, that's fine.
Junior's Farm's not on the DVD.
No, not on the version that was on Band on the Run.
No.
But no, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Anyway,
I'll go with that.
so what do you guys overall? You highly recommend it, Tony, to McCartney people, right?
I would recommend it to somebody looking for it. Yeah, I mean, are we doing numbers? I don't know. What do
No,
we
I don't think we have to do a number on it, really
But I
rating.
would.
I mean, we
Yeah.
can.
I would highly recommend this. I think it's a nice cross section of Paul in 1974. You know, he can't rest, and if this was
Yeah.
going to be okay, we're going to tour with this band, and I'm ready to go, and then he decides, okay, I'm going to have a record out first because that's what Paul does. But this is sort of the in between. I like it a lot for that reason.
But do we agree? All of us agree that the next thing should be London Town and Back to the Egg.
Oh,
God, yeah.
If not a new album, I'm just saying if he announces a new album, that's different. But right now, if he's going to release something else, I do think it's vital we get London Town and Back to the Egg.
I don't think it. I think that, and sorry, Paul, trying to, I don't think that it's a good strategy to not tie in a new album with the archive releases. I think it actually is a bad maneuver to say, well, if we get a new album, then that'll eliminate the idea of the. I think it should be. Paul McCartney's putting out a new album. I think it should be this year. Paul McCartney's putting out a brand new album.
If he is.
And hey, Paul, you've also got these other two great things up your sleeve. You're go out and do you could do a nice combined promo hype tour by doing a brand new album and newly spiffed up versions of two of my my last albums with Wings. Why not? Why not?
And then maybe even include I've Had Enough in the set list when he tours.
Right.
That's a good song for him to do live. I mean, he is going down to South America, so who knows where he'll land. But at the same time, it's I would like a new record because you hear he is working on a new record. He's also working on a supposed Broadway musical.
Well, that's been
It's a Wonderful Life, and then he was working on stuff with Lady Gaga, and
But we still need regardless of all that, I would still like to have London Town and Back to the Egg.
Well, I do,
and this is nice, but I want those others. That's all.
You know what you do? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go first. You go first.
You know what you do to tie it? I know this isn't going to happen. So
Wayne's World.
What you do is you go in the studio on the new album and you record a track with Steve Holley and Lawrence Juber.
Oh, geez.
And then you tie that in with the re-release of Back to the Egg. Ta-da!
I wouldn't mind that actually, but I think it's this archive series started as of this moment 14 years ago.
Yeah.
It's still not done. Now I know he has a lot of records, but it's still not done.
We're gonna get Ocean's Kingdom archive before we get London Town. Anyway, on that lovely note,
I like Ocean's Kingdom.
Me too, but anyway, on that note, this has been the review and analysis of One Hand Gospel. And quite frankly, we hope you enjoyed this, and we hope that you enjoy the album because it is sonically very good. So for Fab Four Free for All, I have been your moderator, Mitch Axelrod, for this edition, and joining me has been Tony Chiguardo.
The completely non-moderated Tony. I'm sorry. When we don't record for a long time, I think I just get punchy. Anyway, Tony Chiguardo. Bye, everybody.
And Rob Leonard.
Thank you very much. No impersonations from me tonight. None at all.
Thank goodness. No Columbo.
When we shut the computer down, he does Bob Hope. He's just brilliant.
I love when he does all those dead people because that's it. Anyway, and we don't condone dying.
What do we stand for? Is that our next thing?
That'll be our next episode.
We're against everything.
Tune in.
Stand for?
Whatever it is, I'm against it.
Whatever it is.
Have a great one, folks. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Fab 4 Free For All was edited and produced by Tony Chiguardo at Word of Mouth Studios in Westbury, New York.
The opening and closing theme is My Dolly by the band The Badge, featuring longtime listener Jeff Slate, available on its debut album Digital Retro and recent Best Of compilation, as well as from the Fab 4 Free For All website.
Thanks for listening to Fab 4 Free For All.